everyone, hi, welcome back, Mr. D here, and today I'm sending you the Swiss roll challenge. Now this is a whisk sponge, fat-free whisk sponge, plenty of skill involved. You can do some additional research if you want to be a little bit fancy, but I'm looking for that perfect Swiss roll, lovely even sponge, nice jam or possibly lemon curd filling, and there will be a little prize possibly for the best one. Okay, so let's have a look at how we make our Swiss roll, starting with lining our tray. So let's start off by getting ready and lining our baking tray. Okay, so just get some greaseproof paper and measure it so it goes over the edge. Okay, so I've already pre-measured mine. So put the paper in there and then push it into all the corners. Now, really important that you get it nice and tight in those corners, okay? If necessary, just fold the paper over to make one straight, firm line down the side. Then, just a little bit of oil. Not too much. Now here's a little tip for you. If your paper's moving around, if with your brush you just put a little bit of oil on the bottom, you then press your paper down and it will stay in place. And there you have your line tin. So now we're going to make the actual Swiss roll itself, and we start by just cracking our eggs into the bowl. If you're a bit unsure about doing this, do it in like a separate container so you don't get any shell in there. Once you've added your eggs, add your sugar. At this stage, if you like, and you've got it, I've got a little bit of vanilla, so I'm just going to add one little measure of vanilla into mine. And you're going to whisk it now until it goes light, pale and fluffy. It's going to take about 5 minutes, and we're looking for is to be able to draw a figure of 8 on the top without it disappearing. Okay, so let's get started. Now as we can see in this mixture, we're starting to see those air bubbles and it's getting a lot lighter and it's starting to thicken up, but we're a long way off yet. As the eggs stretch, they incorporate air, which is what's making it nice and light and airy. This is a fat-free sponge. There's no oil actually or fat going into making this whatsoever, okay? So technically it's healthy. Now if we have a look, we pull the whisks up and we try and draw a figure of 8. As you can see, that's not ready at all yet. So it's been a good 5 minutes or so that I've been whisking this. Honestly, you need the patience at this stage. Lift out the whisk and draw a figure of 8. And if it still remains on the top, you are good to go. This is good to go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold in the flour into my mixture. And I'm going to use a metal spoon. If you got, try and sieve your flour and just do it in small batches. So you go and you're folding, so your spoon's going at the bottom of the bowl, up and over, up and over. Don't whisk it like that, you'll knock out all the air and therefore your sponge won't rise. Now if you wanted to make a chocolate Swiss roll, it's dead simple. All you have to do is just take out a tablespoon of the flour that you would use and replace it with chocolate powder. Ideally the really dark chocolate, not drinking chocolate. That can taste a little bit too sweet and sickly. So incorporating that around. Now if you have a look at the bottom of the bowl, you'll be able to see if there's any flour that's not been incorporated into the mixture. because the last thing you want are lumps of flour in this Swiss roll. Again, just take your time. It's worth it. Right. All the flour's mixed in. So now we're going to get our tray. So we've got our figure of 8. We've incorporated all our flour. And now we're going to carefully put it onto our baking tray that we've greased and lined. Don't smash it down, otherwise you knock out all the air bubbles. Just gently tilt it to one side and let it just run into those corners. Hopefully you'll be able to see the lovely air bubbles that are inside, which is going to create your lovely soft sponge. Now we've already preheated our oven to 160 degrees fan, 180 or gas mark 6. So we've got a nice hot oven ready to go. My Swiss roll's ready to go in. It's all nice and level, so let's get it in the oven. Set your timer for 12 minutes. 12 minutes washing up time. Let's go. While our Swiss roll is cooking, what we're going to do is now prepare for when it's coming out of the oven. So we're going to take some more greaseproof paper, just line it out. You want it to be longer than the tin. Lay it out nice and flat. And what you're going to do now is just sprinkle some sugar on the greaseproof paper. You'll see why later. If you've got any lumps, just squish them out. Okay. If you want to be fancy, you can add a bit of cocoa powder in here. You could even add some coloured sugar. I'll leave that to you. Remember, this is about you being creative, so I want to see what you can do. All right. But to make a good Swiss roll anyway, with a nice filling, job done. Next thing I'm going to do is just got my jam filling. This one that I've got here is actually blackberry jam. Which is delicious. I got from my birthday, so it's a bit of a special treat. And just going to make sure it's loosened up. So I'm going to put some in a container, give it a mix, and then get ready to use this to be the filling inside my Swiss roll. Okay, so as you can hear, the alarm's now going off, so it's time to check our Swiss roll. While it's still in the oven, just gently push down and make sure it's firm enough. That's perfect. And there we have our Swiss roll. What we're going to do now, and this is really hot, so be very, very careful, okay, is we're going to lift it out and turn it upside down on to our sugar. And very carefully, again it's very hot, we're just going to release the edges. And we're going to let it sit there for about a minute, and then we're going to take the rest off. As you're peeling the paper back, just gently with your fingers, just push down in case any bits stick. If some does, just go back and just push the sponge back down again. Now, our edges might be a bit untidy, so the best thing to do is get a nice sharp knife and just trim a little bit off of the sides, just to square it up. Now, don't yet, but put these to one side, and we call these the chef's privilege, i.e. they're your little treat for later on. Now that's all done, turn it round to the area which you're going to roll it up. And we're going to roll it and let it cool down, because at the moment there's still steam coming off this. So, get your paper, fold it in. Before you do that, just cut, or make an indent, sorry, just into the sponge. Then flip it over. And what I like to do is I roll this with the paper actually still in. And I'm going to leave it like that to cool down for about 5 minutes. So it's been about 5 minutes. Let's gently unroll it. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to very, very liberally spread our filling into our Swiss roll. As I said, it's a fat-free sponge, but there is a lot of sugar in it. So obviously we won't eat all of it. Once that's done, you're now going to roll it up, but this time without the paper. So start with, hold the paper, fold it over, and as you're rolling, peel the paper back and sort of up and lift it. Up and lift it. Up and lift it. And there we have our Swiss roll. I'll just move that so you can see it. Okay, nice even layer throughout. Now this is still a little bit warm, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to dust it with some icing sugar. Now again, your decoration, that's entirely up to you what you want to do. And because this is actually going to a friend, I'm going to grate some chocolate over the top. And all that's left for me to do now is get my presentation board, how I'm going to serve it up. Take my Swiss roll, lift it up, put it on my board like that. So that's us all done. I look forward to seeing your Swiss roll challenges, and maybe some of you might be a little bit more creative than this one. However, it's all good. And don't forget, chef's privileges. You get to eat the nice bits at the end. Enjoy!